Welcome to the newest edition of the Blackhawks Hockey Central podcast. I'm Joe Vitali, back in the Chicagoland area from a brief vacation in Anaheim, California, home of the Mighty Ducks. That is Skoks. And just a little update here on some things that I missed on the last episode. And looking forward ahead to a great season with the Chicago Blackhawks. So starting right off the bat, I was listening to some podcasts on the flight, and I was listening to the Steve Dangle podcast, and they were worried that Conor Bedard did not sign his ELC yet. They were like, "Hey, so what's going on with Bedard and his ELC?" Well, guys, let me tell you, you got to be 18 years old to sign that contract. And tomorrow, the 17th of July, is Conor Bedard's 18th birthday. So he can go out for stogies with the boys. So you probably expect an announcement tomorrow from the Blackhawks official site of Conor Bedard signing his ELC bonus. Now, they also did go on in that episode to say that they don't think that ELCs are lucrative enough and they don't provide enough compensation for the draft picks, which I tend to agree. I don't think in general the NHL players are really getting what they're worth. I think you've got bench players in the NBA that are making like 11 mil, and I think it's Nathan McKinnon at the moment is getting the most at $12.6 million. I want to say.
Yeah.
And then Austin Matthews is probably going to break that with like a 13 and a half or 14 and a half. I did see that they were saying that he might take a little less than his current like 11 million right now, just to remain competitive so that the money can be spread out. But that's another original 16 that we don't really care about. So so look for that ELC signing for Conor Bedard tomorrow. And that'll be really nice.
Yeah, we should be seeing it tomorrow or Tuesday, right? I mean, he's probably in town already, just ready to put the pen on the paper, just let's get it done.
Yeah, I wonder who he's going to be living with, because I know like Kirby Doc was living with Brent Seabrook for a
Yep.
little while,
Yep. Seabrook.
and Siebes
DeBrinket was he was with was it Ryan Strome or Dylan Strome?
Yeah,
When
they were teammates on the Erie
yeah,
Otters, so that would make sense that they'd check up together.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now they're both married, and I think they both have kids on the way or already
exactly.
have kids. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting roomy situation.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah.
So I wonder if he's checking up with, I would say maybe Connor Murphy, but same thing. He just got married. So
Right.
if I just got married, I don't think I'd want a full-grown human in my in my
Right. Yeah.
place.
Or
I mean,
like,
maybe they get paid enough, so maybe he's got he can have the basement.
yeah,
They'll have the rest of the condo.
yeah, man. Maybe someone with some like term, maybe Seth Jones,
Yeah,
because they're gonna be here for a while. But yeah,
definitely.
that'll be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, and then
definitely.
Windy City Smokeout just happened. That was at the parking lot of the United Center, I want to say.
Right.
And so I don't know if I know the Hawks put out a flyer that listed a bunch of things. I didn't know if some of the prospects might have been there or whatnot. Maybe Conor Bedard, since he's the cream of the crop. Maybe he was there, maybe he wasn't. I think he's a country music fan. Seems like a lot of hockey players are. Maybe he went just to go enjoy some tunes and some BBQ, because I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, I'm a barbecue fiend.
Yeah, man. Chicken wings. You can't go wrong with any type of barbecue chicken wings.
Oh
Can't
yeah,
go wrong.
pulled pork, brisket, burnt ends.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah,
I'm getting
definitely.
hungry now, so let's move on.
Right.
uh, we also saw the Paul Ludwinski of the Kingston Frontenacs. That's that 22 2022 second round pick, 39 overall, I want to say, got
Mhm.
in the Alex DeBrincat trade from Ottawa.
Mhm.
So he
Yep.
got the MVP for his team, put up a nice 34 points, I want to say.
Mhm.
Wasn't the most points of the team, which I find a little bit surprising.
Mhm.
If you're, I would just think that if you were the MVP, you'd have the most points, but uh, it's that's all good. I think off camera, you were mentioning he
Mhm.
had a little bit of injury trouble, so
Yep.
maybe he was projected to go point per game plus,
Mhm.
and that just didn't happen because of his injury.
Right. And I believe he was named captain um towards the beginning of the season last year. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was captain because Shane Wright was traded, right? And
Right.
he was traded to the Windsor Spitfires, and I believe he was named captain. Paul Ludwinski, yeah. So
Very cool.
so that's great.
Yeah,
That's great to see.
you always love to see the leadership aspect,
Hmm.
so that the players will remain accountable for
Hmm.
themselves, and then they could also, bring that accountability with them. So you've got Conor Bedard, captain, Paul Ledwinski, captain.
Hmm.
I want to say Kevin Korchinski, I think he had an A on his chest. So,
Hmm.
and if
Yeah.
and if he didn't, he's still, putting up over a point per game as a defenseman in the Western Hockey League,
Hmm.
and so he's going to lead by example.
Yeah.
So I like to see that in the players for sure.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because most of our prospects are either assistant captains, right, or captains like Ethan Del Mastro. He was captain of the Steelheads before he was traded to
Nice.
the Sting, and then I believe Nolan Allen was also named captain on the Raiders, and then he was obviously traded to the Seattle Thunderbirds, where he was also assistant captain. So man, that's great to see for our guys.
Definitely. I like the accountability for
Hmm.
sure, and that'll
Yeah.
just be a nice smooth transition into the pro ranks when they get to Rockford.
Hmm. Exactly.
And then something I missed on the last pod was I listened to another podcast, dropping the gloves this time, hockeyfights.com with John Scott,
Hmm.
and he interviewed Milan Lucic, and so he was jokingly like, "Oh, so Luch, like, you probably had 10, 15 teams, they were all probably just jonesing for you." And
Hmm.
he was like, "Actually, that was the case." He's like, "I had a lot of serious conversations with Kyle Davidson and the Chicago Blackhawks, which I thought was really, really interesting." And we were talking about this a little before we got on camera.
Hmm.
And I wonder if they had gotten Milan Lucic, if maybe Corey Perry wouldn't have been in the fold, or
Hmm.
maybe like a Nick Foligno wouldn't have been in the fold, or hey, maybe they would have gotten all of them. The Nick Foligno, the Corey Perry, the Milan Lucic, the Taylor Hall,
Hmm.
and that's a scary lineup. Those guys are bruisers, and they know their role, veteran leadership. They've won. They've been through the battles and been on winning teams, and I like that pedigree added to the Blackhawks for to guide the youngins.
Hmm. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of reactions, right? Um, from the fans. Like we would have liked to see Lucic, right? He was sort of that one name that everyone really looked at, just saying like this is our tough guy, right? Um,
Right.
Obviously not a great skater at this point, but
No.
he brings that physical game, right? But I am totally fine with Corey Perry being that guy on the bottom six, and he's still skilled enough to get on like the second power play, right? Screen the goalie, deflect pucks. I mean, he is very good at that, man. very good.
Yeah, he's lost his luster of a power forward from
Right.
old. Of course, he's not going to be potting 30 plus.
Hmm.
Um, but, also in that interview, he was saying, John Scott asked him, he said, "Hey, so you got Conor Bedard lined up. What do you do?" And he said, "Well, I
Hmm.
have to hit him." So, it just shows you that he's willing to bring the intensity, and he knows the role. So, do I want Conor Bedard getting run over by Milan Lucic? Absolutely not. Would I want Milan Lucic running people over on behalf of Conor Bedard?
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
I want to see it. I want to
Hmm.
see him take some heads off. Um, so I just thought that was really interesting,
Yeah.
to change around the dynamics of the lines and whatnot. It
Hmm.
looked a little different for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Especially on the bottom six. Right.
Definitely.
Hmm.
And, we can look forward ahead to the season. I know, on our Reddit Hawks, a lot of
Hmm.
people were wondering about next season. And I decided to give my 2 cents. I think that the Hawks are going to be probably bottom 10, 15.
Hmm.
Their top six is honestly pretty good. I
Hmm.
would, I would grade their forwards overall as like a B minus.
Hmm.
I'd probably grade their defense overall as a C minus,
Right.
and then I would probably grade the goaltending at about a C minus as well, because
Hmm.
Mrazek, good goalie.
Hmm.
His positioning is a little off. He's got some weird stuff with his footwork.
Hmm.
He likes to put his left foot, I want to say, a little bit forward, and it kind
Hmm.
of makes him lose his net. But he performed pretty well when he was healthy. It is a
Right.
bit of a band-aid. We know this. And then Soderblom, backing up. He was okay. His stats
Hmm.
last season in the win department, not really that good. I think he won like two or four games, and
Yeah.
he was like 2-4, 2-14-7, I want to say,
Hmm.
something along those lines. Uh, when I watched him play, a lot of those goals were cross creasers, and
Hmm.
things that even Andrei Vasilevsky, Ilya
Right.
Sorokin, Igor Shesterkin are not making those plays.
Hmm.
So, he was getting peppered because it was a bad team, and so, I think maybe with a little bit more structure, maybe another year under Luke Richardson, who really likes that defensive structure and that drive and the compete. Maybe those D men will push those forwards out, maybe get some perimeter shots in where Soderblom can see those and
Hmm.
block them and hit them down, and we'll be all right. But, time will tell. So I would say bottom 10 to 15. Um, I think next year's draft is looking pretty deep again for forwards.
Hmm.
So, there's that Celebrini, that his name?
Yeah. Yeah.
Macklin Celebrini, I want to
Hmm.
say, up at Chicago Steel.
Yep.
He's just a little rocket, just
Yeah. He is. He is.
scoring goals, dishing, and he's speedy and he's
Hmm.
got finesse. And so that'd be really cool to see where he goes and
Hmm.
to see him in the league in the distant future.
Right. Yeah. It's. Yeah. I definitely don't see us being like bottom three. Um. ag- Again next year because I think our target tanking year, right? That's sort of accomplished, right? We're not shooting for the bottom anymore, but we're just building off of what we have, right? So like with the young players like Vlasic, Phillips, Reichel, Bedard, uh, Gutman, Soderblom, just building that young talent that's ready to play right now, right? And then prospects will they're gonna come along. So
Yeah. And so that I also predicted that, I'm just hypothesizing here that,
mhm,
I think the trade deadline will be pretty active. And I think the
yeah,
Hawks will sell off, um, pretty much everything that's not nailed down, to be honest. I don't think you're going to be able to move a Seth Jones.
No, no.
Um, and maybe you can do a Connor Murphy.
Possibly.
Um, I wouldn't want that because I appreciate what Connor Murphy does for the Blackhawks, and
Right.
I like his style of game. And I just, he's been here a while, and it's just a good Midwest kid.
hmm
So everyone else though, the bottom tiers, maybe a Foligno, maybe a Perry. It's just when they're making 4 mil and you retain 50%, you know, Corey Perry at 2 mil still is it's
hmm
kind of a tough pill to swallow, unfortunately. And I don't think you're going to want to launder that through another team. You're not going to want to launder $1 million through another team. That just, seems not worth it.
hmm
So, and then I think that those prospects that you were just talking about, I think they're going to finish the year.
Yeah.
So trade deadline is going to come. Hawks are going to sell off a bunch, get some picks and whatever, and then the kids are going to come up, and then that maybe you'll see some, a Del Mastro
Yeah.
or
Right.
an
Or
Allen,
Allen. Yeah.
exactly. Maybe someone like a Jalen Lupin or
hmm
Lipin in
Yeah.
just a little like gritty,
hmm
ratty dudes.
Yeah.
Good high motor, good compete. You might see him towards the end just to finish out the year. Give him a nice little taste of what's to come.
hmm Yeah. Next year is definitely something to look forward to, right? Just seeing all these youngsters come up. Yeah. And we've obviously uh, highlighted, right? Most of the guys that are potentially coming up next year. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Definitely. Yeah. And then I was listening to another, believe it or not, I was listening to another podcast.
hmm
And this is a time the Blackhawks talk.
hmm
Pat Boyle was mentioning he went to go do in Skokie.
hmm
He did a young broadcasters media day,
hmm
and so he went and presented and whatever. And he said that there was a lot of Blackhawks gear,
hmm
and a lot of people were really, really hype about this season. So it's nice to see the hype back in Chicago hockey.
hmm
All the other teams seem to be. Oh, we lost Skoks on the visuals.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah.
No, all good, man. And
Yeah.
so yeah, he was just explaining the hype, and there's a lot of Blackhawks gear there, and so I just like I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. Skokes, I know he's excited. You're excited. It's going to be a really really good time. And if you don't mind, we're just going to keep moving it along, and we're going to talk about um, Calder because I also hypothesized uh, Conor Bedard Calder Trophy winner, and I thought for a second that Lucas Reichel might be his a rival, a quote unquote, just some competition within, but that's not going to work. All right, you're back. Nice.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just Lucas Reichel. He's not going to be able to join in on the festivities for the Calder because 2 seasons ago he played 11 games, and then last season he played 23 games, 24 games,
hmm
and you cannot to be eligible for that Calder play concurrent seasons professionally more than 26 games.
hmm Right.
Sorry, six games concurrently, 26 games for 1 year.
Right.
So if you remember, like there was a little bit of controversy with like Michael Bunting being a Calder finalist. People were
hmm
like,
Yeah.
"No, you can't. He's too old. He's not a rookie." Well, he played 5 games and then he played 21 games. So
hmm
yes, it worked out. So
Exactly.
he he met the criteria. He was a rookie. Deal
hmm
with it.
Yeah,
uh,
because he's like 26 now.
I want to
26,
say he's
20.
26, turning 26 this season,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Yeah, so he came in later. Yeah, yeah. So it's
Exactly.
mhm,
He was ripening up in the Tucson Roadrunners AHL.
mhm. Right.
So right now I have pulled up here. I've
Mhm,
got a little two-screen action going on. Pretty interesting. It's
mhm,
funny to get used to. So I've got the odds. This is from betonline.ag. I think Mark Lazarus posted this a while ago. So I
mhm,
can read you the top 10. And
mhm,
so it's Connor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, Leo Carlson. By the way, when I was in Anaheim,
mhm,
I was talking with a bartender at my hotel,
mhm.
and I was like, "Oh, so like, I think we got talking hockey or sports," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a diehard Ducks fan. I just went to training camp," and I was like,
Wow.
"No way, man! You saw Leo Carlson?"
Mhm.
And he's like, "Yeah, he's really big and he's super slow." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Dude, I think he's just got like mud in his skates. Like
Wow.
he is not quick at all." So
Mhm.
hoping that at least for Ducks fans, you're gonna want to hope that his hockey IQ gets him where he needs to be, like a Mark Stone, you know.
Right. Right.
So we had Connor Bedard negative 300, the
Mhm.
absolute
Favorite.
favorite for
Yeah.
sure. Adam Fantilli
Mhm.
plus 400.
Mhm.
Leo Carlson plus 600, Will Smith, San Jose Sharks plus 800,
Mhm.
Ryan Leonard, he went to
Washington
Capitals.
Capitals.
Yes,
Right.
man, I love that guy's
Right.
play.
Th- That's a great pick for the Caps there at
Yeah, they
oh my
really
gosh.
really lucked out, and then it jumps Will Smith plus 800, and then it
Mhm.
goes Ryan Leonard plus 1400.
Really.
Then you got Dalibor Dvorsky, St. Louis Blues.
Mhm.
Boo. He just signed his ELC. He's at plus 1600.
Right.
Nate Danielson, you heard us talk about him
Mhm.
as maybe a Hawks could pick him up. That's Detroit Red Wings, I want to say.
Yes, yes. Yes, it was.
Also, Boo,
Right.
plus 1800. Zach Benson, love the way that guy plays. I think
Mhm.
Buffalo got a steal in him, plus 2000.
Mhm.
Dmitry Simashev,
With the Coyotes.
Coyotes.
Yeah.
So that's the D man, right?
Yeah. At numbers 6th overall, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
And
that's a pretty rich pick there.
and it's wild because he's not known as an offensive guy.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so, when you're thinking of Calder, you're thinking of points. So
Right.
that's an interesting one at plus
Mhm.
2,500. And then we're going to round it out the top 10, Edward Saleh or
Mhm.
Sale,
Yeah.
um, 28 plus 2,800. I'm
Uh-huh.
uh, I'm I'm kind of I'm blanking at where he went.
Chalet, he went to the was it the Predators? It might have been the Predators.
Oh no, the Kraken.
The
He just
Kraken.
he just signed his ELC as well. Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I just saw Cap Friendly post that up, and
Mhm.
I was like, oh, Edward Saleh is, because I think that Cartier guy,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, the Cartier and the Saleh, they were kind
Mhm.
of messing me up. I thought they were just extending him or something.
Right.
So, wow. So maybe he'll get some time with the Seattle Kraken.
Mhm.
And then they'll probably send him to is it the Calder Cup champion Coachella Valley Firebirds?
I
Or
believe they
no,
won.
no,
Yeah.
I think it was the Hershey Bears.
What was it? The Bears?
I believe it was the Hershey Bears. I'm gonna fact check myself right
Yeah.
here.
I do remember the Firebirds were in the final.
Yeah, and they were like it was like neck and neck. They
Really?
were, and I remember Joey Decord. I want to say he was the
Yeah.
goaltender for the Coachella Valley Firebirds, and
Yep.
he was he shut out the Hershey Bears like two times in a row.
Wow.
It was so wild.
um. What was I gonna say? Oh, I have two names for you.
Yeah,
For the Calder
yeah. Let him rip.
that are not. rookies, right? Because you look at the top 10 projection, right? And maybe a quarter of them play majority of the season, right?
Right.
Next year, because you don't want to rush these kids.
No, never.
The first year, draft year, but two names that I think could squeeze into the top five finalists, right, for the Calder, which I obviously have Bedard being the favorite because I think he has the most opportunity, right, with some great talent on our first line, and so he's my favorite. But two names that could sneak in here, whether it's behind Fantilli or maybe above Carlson, right? Leo Carlson. I think Luke Hughes from the New Jersey Devils.
Yes.
I think that's a sleeper pick. Maybe not to win the Calder, but finish in top three. Whether it's Bedard, Fantilli, Hughes, or Bedard, Hughes, Fantilli. I think that's an interesting name to keep an eye on. I'm hearing a lot about him.
Yeah, and he's got a Cole Caulfield situation kind of going on where
Hmm.
like he played in the playoffs.
Right.
Playoffs do not count towards that
Yeah.
burning of the ELC. So he got his NHL games at the peak uh, of the battle.
Hmm.
The competition was at its highest, and so yeah, so he's going to be coming in. He's definitely going to be. He'll probably be bottom pair,
Hmm.
just to ease him in a little, get him those sheltered minutes, and I think that could be
Yeah.
a really good pick for that. That might be some free money right there.
Hmm. Yeah. Maybe he doesn't put up the most spectacular points, right? But if he's in a winning situation and he does put up decent numbers, he could push for top two to finish in. Yeah, but one more interesting name. I believe he was drafted 1 or 2 years ago. Goalie from the Wild, Jesper Wallstedt,
Oh yeah.
and he played in the AHL last year, full time. And he's like 6'3". I mean he has an NHL build already, right? And I've been seeing some rumblings that he might make the jump this year. I don't know if he plays, like 50% majority of his time up in the NHL, but that's an interesting name to keep an eye on. Also, to be maybe a top five uh, candidate, right? As a goalie. So
Definitely.
yeah, and I think that's an interesting name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at his elite prospects page
Hmm.
right now. I always see whenever I see like prospect rankings, like
Hmm.
overall top 10, top 20, whatever. I always see him in the top 10, like around the 8,
Yeah.
9 mark.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah, he's definitely like highly touted. I believe he's from Sweden.
Swedish.
Yeah. Yeah. Swedish goalies are. I don't know. There's a good history there.
Yeah, and I think that he's from the SHL.
Right.
And
Right.
he tore it up in 21-22 in the
Hmm.
SHL.
Yeah.
198 GAA, 918 save percentage.
Hmm.
How are you?
Wow.
So that's pretty good. And then for him to come over to the AHL, he's got a 908 save percentage, 268 GAA,
Hmm.
18, 15, and 5.
Hmm.
Um, looks like he kind of crumbled in the playoffs,
Hmm.
335 GAA, 897. So you want to pump those numbers up a little bit, but almost a 910 in the AHL
Yeah.
coming over from Sweden.
Hmm.
Really, really respectable. So yeah, maybe he'll get some games. They've got right now their tandem is it's it's disrupted. They've got Philip Gustafson,
Right.
right? And then that's Or no, they still have Marc-Andre Fleury.
I think Fleury's still there. Yeah, I think he has one more year on his
Yeah.
contract. Then
Okay.
I think that's kaput
Yeah.
for Fleury. Yeah.
Phil Gustafson, RFA. I'm not entirely sure he's signed yet, but
Huh.
they might have extended him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I
I don't know
haven't
why
seen
you
anything.
wouldn't.
Yeah. Right.
I know in like the way beginning. Oh
Hmm.
no, right here, RFA,
Wow.
and
Yeah. They
so
still
yeah,
gotta get that done. Yeah.
people people were like saying. I remember like Jeff Merrick
Hmm.
on his show. He was saying like, maybe like someone wants to offer sheet Philip Gustafson, screw over the Wild and grab him.
Wow.
And I, no, it's offer
Yeah. I
sheets
don't
aren't
see it
worth it.
happen.
They're
No.
no, they're really not. I mean, you have to give up like okay, you offer sheet someone, then you have to give up the compensation, and
Yep.
it's like I mean, in certain cases that compensation will probably be less than what you would outright trade for, but some like you can just outright trade for them.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a wash. So you don't really see offer sheets. It's not really a thing anymore,
No.
unfortunately.
No. No.
But the chaos factor would be really nice.
Right.
Um, I so confirmed it was the Hershey Bear Calder Cup
Hmm.
champions defeating Coachella Valley overtime of Game 7. So nothing better than that.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Chicago Blackhawks Hockey Central podcast. I'm really excited for this next season. Reach out to us, see what we want to hear. What you guys
Hmm.
what you guys think is going to happen next season. You know what I think. I think we're going to be decent but bad. Still get some elite talent in there, and then get some turnover. Get the Rockford guys in. It's
Right.
going to be a really busy offseason. There's a tons of RFAs and UFAs that your Austin Matthews,
Hmm.
those types of guys, real heavy hitters that might be that the Hawks might want to jump on,
Hmm.
expedite the rebuild.
Exactly. Yep. Just building momentum this year, right? Just get some um, building blocks. Have a big game, Bedard. Have some breakout games. Be consistent. Stay healthy. It's going to be interesting going into the next year. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. All right. Have a great night, guys. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. And we'll talk to you later here on the Blackhawks Hockey Central podcast. There we go.
Hmm.
Have a good night.
Yep.